Pilot book reading and coastal navigation. Pilot books for coastal navigation contain local knowledge. The most relevant content of pilot books are sailing directions for voyage planning, coastal navigation, port entry, anchorages and port information. Traditionally, sailing directions consist of text, diagrams, and photos. Recently, sailing directions became available on EGDIS. Chapter 1 of Sailing Directions contains general information. Other chapters contain specific information. In the following two video clips, you will see how both a pilot book description of a port and its approaches and directions how to reach this port are visualized.
Inner approach to St. John. The channel into the harbour lies to the east of Partridge Island, 45 degrees, 14 minutes north, 66 degrees, 3 minutes west, 24 meters high, which is situated 2.6 miles northeast of Manawaganish Island. A drying reef surrounds the island, and a rock breakwater joins the west side of the island to Negro Point, 0.5 miles north-northwest. Fairway Light and Whistle Buoy J145 is moored 1.3 miles south-southeast of Partridge Island. A Raycon operates from this buoy. A light 100 in Partridge Island is shown from a tower 13.6 meters high with red and white vertical stripes on the highest point of the island. The Bay Ferries terminal is situated at the south end of the west side of the main harbour, 0.9 miles from Partridge Island. The wharf is 253 meters long. The MV Princess of Acadia makes scheduled crossings of the Bay of Fundy to Digby, Nova Scotia. Starting from the Fairway Light and Whistle Buoy, steer north to go to the head of the main channel, indicated by the green buoy J1. If green buoy J1 is not visible, a good reference to use is the eastern end of the green hangar in Potash Terminal. As soon as green buoy J1 is visible, make sure to leave it on the port side. Leading lights 100.5 and 100.6 inline bear 333.5 degrees into the main harbour at St. John and are shown from red day marks with black stripes from the head of the harbour.
Directions are the most important specific information. Directions indicate a recommended route relative to land and sea marks. From a position about 2¼ miles southwest of Swinbaden Light, position 56 degrees, 09 minutes north, 012 degrees, 32.4 minutes east. Paragraph 6.23. The track leads southeastward in the white sector 137 degrees to 145 degrees of Kronborg Light, position 56 degrees 02 minutes north and 012 degrees 37 minutes east, also paragraph 6.23, for about 1.5 miles to enter the southwest traffic lane, paragraph 6.20, between Mike 1 and Whiskey 1 light buoys. Clear of dangers. Northeast of a 7.2 meter rocky shoal 3 miles northwestward, marked by a light buoy, North Cardinal. This shoal is the northernmost danger on Gilleleje Vlak, on which are several dangerous shoals, extending up to 2 miles northward from the Danish coast. Thence, northeast of Oostindiefarergrund, 2.5 miles northwestward, marked by a buoy, North Cardinal, at the seaward end of the approaches to Gilleleje Haven, paragraph 6.45. Thence, northeast of Solborghovedgrund, 1.25 miles north, marked by buoy East Cardinal. Passing northeast of Lappegrund, 1.5 miles north-northwest of Kronborgpunt, 56 degrees 02 minutes north and 012 degrees 38 minutes east. A narrow sandy shoal with a least depth of 3.2 meters. Blokhuisgrund, consisting of the remains of an old blockhouse, lies in the middle of Lappegrund. From a position about 1 mile northeast of Kronborgpunt, which is steep too, the track leads south-southeastward for 1 mile to the center of the traffic lane between Helsingør and Helsingborg. The coast is the area that borders the sea. Beach, rock, estuary, mouth, river, bight, strait. The coastline, or the coastal area in which land and sea interact, is called shore. Coasts can be steep, like these terrace cliffs, bluff, bare. Sloping, like this volcanic coast, or flat, like this sand island. The coastline can consist of dunes, rocks, salt marshes, or woodland. Drying wrecks and sands are typical features of a tidal coast. In the inshore waters, one can come across natural obstructions like detached rocky islets, an attached pinnacle rock with a summit, shoals with shallow water over it and shoaling waves on the surface, and man-made obstructions, a wind farm, a marine farm or fish haven, platform. The sea causes either erosion, like on this gravel beach, or deposition, transporting sediment, for example shells, to this shell beach. A combination of both deposition and erosion leads to an embayed coastline of capes and bights. Lagoon. In order to counteract erosion, dredging companies carry out beach replenishment. With sand that has been dredged at spots that require deepening or widening. A 6 km 100 meter wide access channel with a depth of 11.5 meters has been provided to facilitate entry of vessels to the North Port. Coastal constructions extend from the coastline. Breakwater, windmill, tower, dam. This modern deep water port can be considered a coastal construction. Storage tank park, quay, container wharf, basin, T-jetty, pier. The development of such terminals affects the size of modern ships. Resulting in under-keel clearance limits. Ships, constrained by their draft, face the risk of grounding. Therefore, fairways have been established through shallow waters like this lagoon. Monitoring the echo sounder in shallow waters is very important. Besides shallow waters, narrow waters or narrows are problematic too. Navigation in narrow channels requires permanent attention and vigilance. Transit bearings can be useful to monitor the ship's progress and clearance of dangers. Radio masts. Landmarks serve as conspicuous reference points to steer for. In order to keep a ship on track, alignments of leading beacons, so-called ranges, are used. When run in line, the ship is on track. When they are open, the ship is off track. Leading beacons equipped with lights are called leading lights. Sector lights mark the limits of the fairway and can guide the ship in turns. During dark hours, lighthouses and light buoys and beacons are essential for safe navigation. Conspicuous objects can be used for taking visual bearings. In order to fix one's position. Bearings can also be obtained by radar. Visual bearings and radar bearings can be compared to ECDIS data. The use of compass bearings is vital in pilot book descriptions. 1. The route leads generally northeastward through Needles Channel. 2. Needles Channel forms the western approach to the Solent. 3. Isle of Wight, northwest coast. Elam Bay is entered between Needles Point, position 50 degrees 40 minutes north and 001 degree 35 minutes west, and Hatherwood Point, 8.5 cables northeastward. It may be identified by the high white cliffs on its south side and the cliffs of variegated colors on its east side. The junction of these two different types of cliffs is a conspicuous feature. There are different endings or suffixes of compass bearings in use. Between Southwest Shingles Light Buoy, port hand, 1 1/4 miles west-southwestward, marking the southwest end of Shingles, and Bridge Light Buoy, west cardinal, 9 cables westward, marking the western extremity of the bridge, a reef which extends about 11 cables from Needles Point. The bottom in this vicinity is very uneven. The reef is distinctly marked by overfalls on the west-going tidal stream in rough weather and by ripples in calm weather. During southerly gales, it is marked by a well-defined line of broken water and, with much groundswell, the sea breaks heavily some distance from Needles Light. Note the use of the verb to mark. Отмечать, указать, выделять. Marking the southwest end. Marking the western extremity. Marked by overfalls. Marked by a well-defined line of broken water. Note the use of prepositions of place and time. Between Southwest Shingles Light Buoy and Bridge Light Buoy. In this vicinity. On the west-going tidal stream. In rough weather. In calm weather. During southerly gales. Some distance from Needles Light. Note the use of idiomatic keywords. The southwest end. The western extremity. A reef which extends about 11 cables from. Some distance from.
Маяк Хаттерас установлен в 1,7 мили к северо-северо-востоку от мыса Хаттерас.
Equivalent. Sailing directions. Cape Hatteras light structure. Black tower with white diagonal stripes on a red base. Stands 2 miles north of the cape.
Отмель Даймонд с глубинами менее 10 метров простирается на 9 миль к юго-востоку от мыса Хаттерас. На отмеле расположены мели Хаттерас, Inner Diamond и Outer Diamond, положение и глубины которых постоянно меняются. На мелководных участках отмели Diamond при волнении обычно образуются буруны.
Diamond shoals, which include Hatteras shoals, Outer Diamond shoal and Inner Diamond shoal, extend 8 miles southeastward from Cape Hatteras, over which the sea usually breaks. These shoals are subject to frequent change.
Проход Окорокок, доступный при наличии опыта плавания в данном районе, пролегает в 14,3 мили к юго-западу от прохода Хаттерас. Вход в проход Окорокок расположен между юго-западной оконечностью острова Окорокок и северо-восточной оконечностью острова Портсмут. Входной фарватер прохода ведет через отмель. Фарватер ограждается светящими буями, однако вследствие частого изменения фарватера и глубин на нем, буи периодически переставляются.
Similar sailing directions. 6.10 Ocracoke Island, which is narrow, low and sandy, lies between Hatteras Inlet and Ocracoke Inlet. Position 35 degrees 04 minutes north, 76 degrees 01 minutes west, 15.5 miles west-southwestward. Ocracoke, a town in which there is a cupola, several hotels and a basin, stands 3.5 miles northeast of the inlet and is frequented by many fishing vessels. Ocracoke light structure, White Tower, stands near a clump of trees 3 miles northeast of the entrance to the inlet. Portsmouth, an abandoned town in which there is a prominent spire and cupola, stands on the east-northeast end of Portsmouth Island, on the southwest side of Ocracoke Inlet. Ocracoke Inlet is entered across a shifting bar, which is subject to frequent change and should not be attempted without local knowledge. The channel across the bar is marked by Oscar Charlie Lightbuoy, moored on its outer end, and thence by buoys which are moved to meet the changes across the bar.
При исследовании Котмели Даймонд с юга в ограниченную видимость надлежит соблюдать большую осторожность, так как трудность учета гольфстрима течения вблизи отмели, имеющего здесь большую скорость, может вызвать значительную ошибку в счислении. При подходе к отмели в случае, когда нет уверенности в точном местонахождении судна, следует стать на якорь, не заходя на глубины менее 40 метров.
Different sailing directions. Caution. When approaching in thick weather, considerable error may be caused in the reckoning due to the difficulty in making proper allowance for the Gulf Stream and strong currents near the shoals. Sounding and Diamond Shoal Lighthouse and its radio beacon are the guides for clearing the shoals. When approaching and uncertain of the position, the greatest care should be observed, sounding continuously until bottom is found, and care should then be taken not to decrease the depth to less than 55 meters, 30 fathoms. Thank you for your attention.